What is up, guys? We are back. Peach Fuzz Season 2, Episode 18. The summer is complete, fellas. How are we feeling?
Weird. I just going through this past weekend with no baseball was pretty odd. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like I was doing something wrong, not being at the field both days for the first time in what month is it?
February?
Six months. Yeah, the last
At
6
least.
months. We had at least 6 months. So yeah, I mean, I feel good. It was a great summer. Finished off really strong with Super Sophomore and future games, obviously. So it feels really good to finish off like that. Obviously, we've talked a ton about those guys. So seeing them in this summer setting was great.
Yeah. Super Sophomore has been fun to cap off the summer with, talking to those players like before the event. It's cool having them fresh on campus right after future games, just because they're kind of, a year from their big kind of recruiting period opening. So it's cool to see those guys, and the progression from those guys it always goes really quickly. It seems like once we hit this time of the year. So Avery, how we feeling after what? This is third, fourth summer for you, right?
Yeah, I mean it's crazy how kind of far along it's come.
Yeah.
It seems like just I don't know, because I saw the 29s what 6th, 7th grade. It's like just like being with a class for that long now. It feels like I've seen these guys for forever. But
yeah, it's definitely cool for sure. And now we're starting to get getting some big commitments rolling off the board. I think we had Hudson Wills, our first senior future games guy, off the board, going to Georgia College, and then it jumped to Brody Bohannon, East Tennessee State, which was huge for him. Both those guys, especially Brody, had a really, really big senior future game showing, and I know he got a lot of interest right after the workout day. Really, just kind of did it all in the workout, ran well, hit well, and then he showed some legit stuff during the gameplay as well with the back pick video that you got of him throwing that guy out, and had a handful of barrels too. So it's always cool to see the senior future games guys start to go off the board as well. And then after that, Everett Grubbs was the next one, going to Western Carolina after that, and then Rocco Baxter to Georgia State was our four senior future games guys. Anything you guys want to touch on any of those guys? I know y'all saw a ton of those guys across the spring. Brody's has been in the system for a while, but those other three have really came a long way. And congrats to those guys for committing right after the senior future games.
Yeah, I know Avery will probably touch on it some, but just the process for Everett Grubbs there the last 2 months, from the end of high school season into the beginning of summer and summer ball, was pretty cool to see. We were pretty close in that whole situation, so seeing the interest really drive up and him really just earn his worth was pretty awesome. I know he threw a ton for the first time in 2 years this year, obviously a state title at Pickens, and then threw really well for East Cobb. So getting a D1 commitment and finish off obviously senior games and going into that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy just because there was really nothing for
until MPI, right?
Yeah. And that one outing, it was
night
a couple offers came, and then everybody was kind of in on it. But yeah, it was cool to see.
Yeah, and then big Rocco, you saw Rocco quite a few times in the spring.
Yep.
Avery, I think you saw him once or twice, and high ceiling for him. I think he's just kind of scratching the surface, going to develop an off-speed pitch, and headed to Georgia State, who's getting a lot of good guys here recently. They're building a strong program over there. The new stadium going up, and I haven't saw estimated completion date on that yet, but looks really cool right there in the old stadium where the old Turner Field used to be. So they're building some good stuff over there in Atlanta, and getting Rocco is going to be a huge addition. Anytime you get a strike throwing lefty, whether it be a starter, bullpen role, going to be big for those guys.
No doubt.
And then we started having our future gamers jump off the board, the 2028s. We've had a couple of those guys go. It changes from year to year on how quick some of those guys get off the board. Some of those guys have some spots set, in their head pre-August 1, and then it happens, and then they're happy with it. But, a lot of these guys going to take their visits, going to let it play out a bit and see how things go. But our first future gamer off the board was Dylan Schmidt, headed to Kennesaw State. Big time pickup for them, and the two-way ability for Dylan is also really high. Just pitched at future games, but I think he's just scratching the surface on the mound up to 90, 91. Ian, I know you got out up north to see him a couple times this spring. But yeah, good get for Kennesaw, keeping him close to home.
Yeah, it's funky. It's kind of a crossfire delivery there with Schmidt. He's going to throw harder. It's 3 pitches already. He competes. It's a really athletic frame. I think he's about 6'2" now, up to 190 pounds. Moves well in the infield if you need him to play probably second, third, and even moonlight some at shortstop as well. But I think the highest upside really comes on the mound, where you talked about the sinker slider mix is really good, and the changeup is coming along. And if he can throw more strikes, got a chance to be a long-term starter again for the Owls, and which is huge. They've lost some arms in the draft the last few years, so adding these high floor, high leverage, or high floor, high ceiling arms like Schmidt is big for Coach Pass and that staff.
Yeah, and they're always getting super versatile guys. I mean, even back when I remember Hudson Mims, a game on kid from back in the day, he was kind of a athletic type, just like Schmidt, and ends up pitching a lot more. But then one season he plays a lot more shortstop. One season he pitches a lot more. Same thing with Grayson McCollum. I think he might have been going in as more of an arm, but I think he ended up starting a handful of games at shortstop in the infield for them. So good get for them. And then sticking on Kennesaw State, they ended up snagging Jax Faust, who was kind of our little sleeper coming into the future games. Will do it all, can play all nine positions, truly. True utility type gamer that's just going to keep getting better. You plug him into any lineup, any position, he's going to figure out a way to get it done. And nearly goes pull side. That was his first AB, right? In the future games?
I think so, yeah.
Nearly goes pull side bomb. I think it was like 94, 95 EV and just got under it just a little bit. But yeah, super pumped for Jax. He was one that, still waiting for his time at North Paulding. I think it's coming this spring, but we saw multiple looks at him in the summer, and he just kept hitting, and we just could not have him there. And yeah, congrats to Jax, headed to Kennesaw State as well.
Yeah, and that was a fun one. Him being like one of like the later additions to the team, wasn't listed as a catcher on the roster package. So all these colleges really didn't know who he was behind the plate, kind of figuring it out on the fly. I know Kennesaw being one of them, so seeing what he could do behind the plate as a versatile defender that it's got a chance to really stick. It's a plus arm behind the dish. It's athletic in that crouch. Like he's a primary shortstop growing up, so I think there's a lot of athleticism there for him to play multiple positions. Is a true gamer on the field. Like you can see the way he was. I mean, he picked up and caught, I think, 5 straight innings, a couple games, just because we were short on catchers and he needed to do it and was ready for it at any time, was willing to take the field. So that's a huge get. It's that gritty type that's only going to get better at the collegiate level. So, yeah, I think it's a huge get for them. And you're betting on the ceiling there, but the floor is just as high as well.
Yeah, and I think he probably won't even catch that much at North Paulding in next spring. I think he said he's going to be playing a lot of infield. So the more positions he can play, the better. It's just going to be a bigger tool as he gets into college.
And he can pitch as well.
Oh, so yeah, up to 86, 87, right?
Big time innings and high leverage situations last year as a freshman.
Yeah.
So that was big for them. Or excuse me, as a sophomore. I'm all over the place today.
Yeah. No, awesome for Jax. Pumped for him. And then last future gamer that was off the board for us was Trip Sap, headed to Georgia Tech. So the Yellow Jackets keeping him close to home. I think that's an awesome fit. We'll talk about it a little bit later in the future game standouts, but not the loudest future games at the plate, but the ABs he took were so mature. They weren't big misses. He battled hard balls in play, and then not to mention what he did in the infield. I think he had 3 really like big time plays, 1 diving glove side up the middle, and then 2 just insane short hop picks that are just do or die. You have to come and get them in some big leverage situations. So big time get for Coach Ramsey and the Jackets. And I think that's a perfect fit. I mean, Carson Curse comes to mind when you start thinking about that. He's gonna hit no matter what pitching he sees. But yeah, pump for Trip and congrats to him headed to Georgia Tech.
Yeah, the instincts and the high IQ he brings to the field is just kind of different from anybody else. You can just see the intangibles that are there and what he does game in and game out. You mentioned the defensive plays. It was just no second thought to him. Like he was charging balls whenever he knew he had those do or die plays. He could make that anytime, and he just kind of brings it for that moment. He's been doing it all his whole career at a young level. This early in the spring, like primary infielder long term, but like can pitch in high school. Like had to face BT on a 45-degree night in GDC this year. Went 5 strong for an early season win. Just plays for a really good program. Another state championship this past spring. Just ready for the moment at all times. Like you mentioned, it wasn't the loudest showing, but like just like everything that he does is solid. Like the floor is as high as it gets in the class. You know it's going to blossom as a collegiate player. He's just the type of kid who's going to get under Ramsey and that staff and just kind of buy in. You know he's going to stick around. He doesn't seem like one of those players that's going to be at 3 schools in 3 years. So one of those guys you can bet on long term, and I think that's what you're doing, locking him up early in this class. And I think Trip's one of those guys that just it's just so easy to bet and so easy to like and so easy to bet on that
crazy
profile and that gamer. Exactly. Just it's everything you want in a player. So it's really awesome to see that staff get a name like that early in this cycle.
Yeah, definitely a good get for those guys. And then we're going to run through a few more commitments that are jumping off the board just as of recently. So we're going to try to keep up with these. Hopefully we'll probably go maybe bi-weekly with these episodes just as we're getting back into things. But we got Luke Oates, Pinewood Christian, headed to High Point. Andrew Moran going to Georgia College. Hunter Williams going down to Florida, play some JUCO ball down there at St. John's River. Thatcher Dumford and Owen Helms both headed to Southern Union. Both of those guys from Denmark, so they're sticking together. And then one of our first August 1st commitments was Santiago Fuenmayer, headed to University of South Florida. So congrats to all those guys committing. I'm sure we've missed a couple here and there, but we're keeping an eye on them as they come in and getting those updated. So outside of that, we're going to jump into a little Southeast Super Sophomore games action, and from here we're gonna highlight some Southeast Super Sophomore standouts. Each of us are going to kind of go into 3 standouts, and then we're going to jump into some future game standouts. And then we'll go into the fall schedule a little bit, and then that'll be all for today's episode. So getting into Southeast Super Sophomore games, like I said earlier, this was a really big event for us to kind of finish the summer. First time doing it last year. We had a bunch of Georgia guys last year. Just we didn't know exactly how it was going to look from the other states' perspectives, but dropped it down to 6 teams this year for the Georgia guys. Small numbers on those teams, so a lot of ABs, a lot of innings. But yeah, really fun 6 teams that we had. We kind of mixed some guys up, put some guys that have been doing it for the last couple of years with some newer kind of standout riser guys. So it was fun to kind of piece all these together. But from here, we're going to go into 3 standouts. Ian, I'll let you take the reins on these. Who you got as your standouts from Southeast Super Sophomore games for Team Georgia?
Yeah, I mean, it was a guy that we've kind of saw kind of more and more this summer, and I hadn't got a chance to really see him close up, but that's Chance Hopper, man. Just as twitchy as he gets in the outfield, 5'10", 150 pounds, just going to get more physical as he grows. High-level football player as well. I know he's, I believe, a wide receiver on the field. Has bloodlines as well, but kind of just brought the bat-to-ball skills into gameplay and through BP. Just kind of uses the whole field, stays within himself. It's a compact left-handed swing that kind of lives in the zone, can ambush pitches at the top of the zone and the bottom of the zone. Showed ability to get the bat-to-ball on both spin and velocity throughout the week. I think he can play across the outfield as well. I think there's really a center field long-term potential there. I think he ran a 6'7" or something, I believe.
Yeah,
6'7",
Yeah,
I think it plays better in game as well. It's one of those guys that's kind of blitzed off the instincts and gets a quick burst off the first step. I think it's going to play long-term and only going to get better. It's something that I'm going to go out and probably see it. Told him to send me his football schedule, so I'm going to go see it this spring or this fall in football. But I'm ready to go see Purple next spring as well. Next on my list, I just don't know what more I can say about Xavier Rodriguez, man. Like, it was all summer long, just continued to show up and perform. The bat to ball is as good as it gets, and he's finding hard barrels from now both sides of the plate, which is just crazy for me. I think he's been swinging left-handed now for, just a few months. I think we've seen it 3 or 4 times now from the left side, and he was doing it in game this past week. He went, I think, probably 95 plus up the middle for an RBI knock. Was doing it in BP as well. Went off the wall right-handed for a double. Really showed the ability to lift this summer, which was big for him. He's been a line drive-oriented player, living up the middle of the field, but he's now turning on balls and carrying it, and just kind of showing why he's the number one player in the class, and it just continues to stand up and do that every time we see him.
And a funny story about Xavier, just with the pop with his pop the other day at Super Soft. So we had David Sharp, our Alabama Deep South director over there, longtime USA coach, very well respected in the baseball community. He told me, he goes, Hudson, I feel like I'm pretty good at pop times. Like, I've been doing this a long time. My pop times are pretty spot on, and it's stopwatch pop times. It is what it is. It's just part of it. And he goes, I had a 178. He had a 178. He did some 1.8s, and I mean, I was on it. Like, he felt good about it. And pop time is one of those things that gets blown out of proportion, like in that setting. And he was just like, it was unbelievable. He's like, that was some of the best throws and best catches, pop times, like pops that I've ever seen. And it's just kind of what Xavier does. He plays up all the time, and
played as much as anybody did this summer as well.
Yeah, and he's gonna hit, and it's like legit back there. So yeah, funny story there with how pop times go and what we do. But yeah, Sharpie felt good about it, and he grabbed a sub 1.8 pop. So good stuff there for him.
That'll play a little bit, And the last one on my list, I probably could have went for anybody on the entire Wesleyan roster here who came and just showed up and just wanted to perform this week. But we're going to stick with Bradford Smith here, a guy who just really finished the summer on a heater. And then we went yard 4 times in a tournament earlier, like I think a week or two before Super Sophomore, and then showed up ready to hit. Ran a 6.75 in the 60. It's a compact physical frame, 5'10", 165 pounds, can play either corner in the outfield. Wesleyan's losing a ton of outfielders from last year's staff graduating, so I think he has a chance to move in and play early for this team next year. That roster going forward is just as talented as you're going to find in the state, and I think good seeing this in this setting where he's finding barrels. He went backside triple in game, went 98.6 in BP as well. What was he? 89 from the outfield. It's a toolsy complete package that's just only getting better. Swing's a little bit rigid right now, but continues to find barrels. The barrels shows a ton of length in zone and keeps it on plane. So if he continues to work backside and living those gaps, I think he has a chance to play early next spring for Wesleyan.
Yeah, needless to say, Wesleyan is probably going to get a good bit of time from the staff this year, being a future games year, and it's going for the.
We were on it last year early.
I
was talking to the Radix mom. Like, I don't know what episode we were like saying like they had a chance to probably win it all privately. Obviously, they ended up doing it in the end, winning that private state championship. But we were in it like with that
media day. We said it.
Yeah, I think it might have been media day. So yeah, it was early. So I think one of those teams and rosters to be really bullish on. Obviously with the type of talent they have coming up, and that was shown last year.
Yeah, completely different roster too with all those guys graduating. It's going to be completely different, but nearly just talented, if not even more talented. It's going to take a little bit of time for the younger guys to get their feet under them in that setting, but I think they'll be good there. All right, Avery, standouts from Southeast Super Sophomore games. Who you got? I know you bounced over. We had to go with a fifth field for gameplay, so you were tucked over there with those guys, but had some big time performances.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like you said, I kind of just stuck with the same 4 teams for the whole tournament, but it ended up working out because there were some pretty big performances. But I'll start with Clay Phillips. Kind of looks like the next big thing to come out of Citizens Christian.
Oh yeah.
Lefty or two-way, but he was 84, 87. It's really clean, repeatable delivery, and it's a high-waisted 5'11" frame. I just feel like there's so much more to tap into there, but yeah, it's 84, 87, really, really sharp ASR on the fastball, shorter action to the curveball, and then kind of spun over a depthier changeup. But he really attacked in the zone and competed out there, and then also caught a couple barrels at the plate. But yeah, that was my biggest winner from the event.
Yeah, and I was trying to look at. Hold on, it's going to load real quick. I was trying to see the
as an eighth grader.
Huh?
Didn't he start? Was it last year or the year before?
He started as an 8th grader, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was starting as an 8th grader for those guys because they went back to back, right?
I think so.
Yeah. It's not loading. I was going to pull up. Dude, the strides he's made have been crazy to see. He was at top prospect games, and I was trying to see just with the short jump that he made and kind of too much time, but. Yeah. So
I think there's a chance. I think it could be 90 in the spring.
Yeah, and he actually didn't throw. So that he didn't throw at top prospect, just being in the middle of the summer. So that was kind of not a bit of a surprise. We haven't really seen it on the mound a ton, but hitting, yeah. I mean, he goes average EV at top prospect was 77, into the 80s for super soft, and then max EV was 88, and he's up into the low 90s for super soft. Max distance. He was in the 300s at top prospect, and then super soft, he was up into the 300s, like mid 300s. So yeah, it's just going to keep trending up for him. And between Blake Bryant and Gentry and Coach, I'm blanking down there, they're definitely grooming their next guy for sure in Douglas.
Yeah, it's talented, man. I think the vibes are as high as they could be in Douglas right now. Obviously, having a first-round pick, and then what they have returning, the chance to three-peat down there, it's pretty cool. It's a really cool. What's the word I'm looking for? Your community. I'm like, I don't really say that, but like, just it's very tight knit. It's a small town, so like what that team has done recently and seeing how packed out it gets for high school games is awesome. And so more talent down pipe in Douglas.
Sweet.
For my second one, I'll go Nolan Porch. He was a guy that kind of burst onto the scene late in the summer, but he kind of just looked the part as soon as he stepped on the mound. It's lean, high-waisted, 6'2" frame, and super loose and athletic. It's kind of deceptive because it's a compact action, and it just really jumps on guys. And he filled it up. It's 83, 85. Really heavy arm side run, spun over a slider at 72, 75, and then changeup at 73, 74 is probably the best pitch there. Just going off the fastball for whiffs. And then my last one was Charlie.
He should jump in there and help North Cobb Christian this year for sure on the mound, right? I mean, he had to be potentially getting some looks to get in there last year, right? Ian, Coach, he mentioned. Did he mention him to you earlier in the year?
Not to me, but then I mean, he has to get in there next year. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, my last one is
Porch ran a 6'7" too from the outfield. It was 84 from the outfield.
Sure, really athletic.
Yeah.
But yeah, last one is Charlie Cruz, Lowndes, 29. I think he had 3 or 4 hits. He was just living on the barrel. But it's really quiet at the plate, super direct to it. Barrel stays on plane forever. Yeah, likes to hit early. I mean, it's a good glove over at first. I think he should get a chance to get in the mix next year.
Yeah. We getting to see him at top prospect was really big, and then got a chance to see him a handful of times in tournaments across the summer too. So another one down in Lowndes. I'll jump into my kind of 3 standouts that I had from Super Sophomore games, and I'll kind of keep it on the Lowndes train right now. And that's Brogan Stevens, junior future gamer for us back last year, and got a chance to get in there for Lowndes as a freshman, which is no easy thing to do. He jumped right in and kept hitting. The hit tool is what has always stood out for him. He was doing it, a year and a half ago and still doing it now. But now he's starting to get pretty strong. So I think he's just scratching the surface of what he's got going on. And the numbers for him have been really, really cool to see as well. In 25, he was at junior future games, he had max EV of 83, and then fast forward to now, max EV of 91.7. And then he proceeds to go pull side bomb to end his final AB at Super Sophomore games. He had another hit in game 1 to the pull side. So regardless of pitching, I think he's going to jump right in this spring and definitely have a breakout sophomore year. And then it's ticked up on the mound as well. He's been a low 80s, high 70s, low 80s arm the last year or so, and I think he jumped up 85, 86 in the summer, and then he was low 80s the other day at Super Soft, and fills up the zone, 3 pitches for strikes, competes. He's another one of those gamer types that we like to talk about. He's going to hit good pitching. He's going to take mature ABs, and he's starting to run a little bit too. Got that 60 down below 7 now, ran a 6.9 at Super Soft compared to let's see what he ran at JFG's. He ran a 7.44 a year ago. pretty much to the date to sophomore, and then he's running a 6.91 now, which is awesome to see. Even in January, he ran a 3.94 30-yard split, ran a 3.83 30-yard split a couple weekends ago at Super Soft. So really good stuff from Brogan. Awesome kid too. He's going to play hard, super coachable. So keep an eye out for him down at Lowndes. And then the next guy for me, Grayson Parker. I went out to see Central against Heard County last spring, just kind of checking in on Chafin, Asher Allen, all those guys that we've seen a lot of. And Grayson Parker proceeded to get his first varsity start and went 4 for 4 with 2 doubles. Lean, wiry, kind of athletic, 6 foot 1-ish frame, left-handed hitter, really stood out in the box right when I saw him. And first time getting a chance to see him in this setting. And same thing for him. Him and Brogan are on the same team, and he decides to go pull side bomb on the very last pitch of the event on that field. So good stuff for him. I think as the pounds and the strength continues to tack on, I think he's just going to get stronger and stronger and be a really, really big bat for those guys when we get into 2027. I think he probably sticks over at third base, could probably move around the infield a little bit or even jump into the outfield as well. But really like what Grayson was doing. Max EV of 93.3. And let's see what he ran. I think he was sub. Yeah, so ran a 4 flat 30-yard split, 7.4. I think he's just kind of learning to move his body. I think that's going to continue to get better. Being a corner guy, obviously speed's not the biggest thing, but he's going to hit. He's going to get stronger. Yeah, 6 foot, 162-pound frame. So a lot to look forward to for Coach Presnell over at Central with Grayson. My last guy I will go Caleb Sullivan. Caleb Sullivan popped a PR in the 60 with a 6.49, I think, 6.46. So he was pumped on that. We got a chance to see him, 2 years ago, year and a half ago in January, February, Rising Stars event, and running a 30-yard dash. We're like, oh, well, he can really move, explosive first step, really floats as he gets past that 30. And I think capped off super soft. I think he had the top average EV, maybe. I think he was mid-90s for that. Posted some triple digits. Had a barreling gameplay right at the middle. So a lot to like for him. I think he's the ceiling is there. Yeah, 6.46, 101 max EV with a why is it TrackMan not showing up on here? I'll have to check that out. But yeah, had a really high average EV, 6'2", 176-pound frame. Outfielder, can really go get it. Sticks in center field, obviously with that speed. So he's going to be one at Buford that's going to definitely probably get in the mix this year with a couple guys graduating, and especially with that speed, he'll at least be getting some time on the bases. So yeah, anything else for Super Soft? Avery, I know you had a immaculate inning.
Yeah, which is funny. That's like the second immaculate inning I've had in like 3 months.
Dang. But yeah, Carter Smith, another big name.
But yeah, Carter Smith, Harlem kid. It's not the most like overpowering stuff, but he knows how to pitch and he mixed really well. But yeah, it's 81, 83 with a run that just missed barrels, and then curveball was kind of his go-to. He really manipulated it, changed shape on it. It was more two-plane, and it got a crazy amount of whiffs because he struck out 7 in 3 innings. And then he threw one changeup at 79, and it was right on right, and it just went right under the barrel, which if he could get a little, more confidence to go to that, it would just really take the arsenal to the next level. But yeah, he also hit a ground rule double in the box too. So it's just one of those kids, that kind of wants the moment, and he kind of really lived for it throughout.
Yeah, no, awesome event for us. Really liked seeing those guys. We kind of get our full list of 29s as we head into the fall, into the off season. A lot of big names moving, and just even more are going to get into the mix as the preseason gets going. So that's always the best part about these younger classes is we know the guys, the Rylan Longs, the Xavier Rodriguez's, RJ Westbrook had a big showing. Some of these guys we've seen for the last 2 years, but now we're getting the Chance Hoppers, the Grayson Parkers, the Nolan Porches. We're starting to get more and more guys in the mix, and the names are just going to keep coming in. Our goal is to see as many of those guys as possible, especially in the preseason and in the fall as we get ready for the spring of 27. So any last touches on Super Sophomore games? I know we had a good week. Caden Harvey looked really good, getting strong. He's kind of primed for a huge season down at Hoko.
Yeah, I think the sliders for Hudson Purcell and Carter Raddick looked really good on both of those. I think there's a chance for plus pitches for multiple guys in this 29 group that's coming up. I think it's the deepest catching class that Georgia has had, definitely since I've been in the state.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And maybe the last 10 years, it's 10 guys deep. Like it's that good. It's that good. They're gonna catch long term. I couldn't be higher on guys like obviously Xavier being one. Ryan Long, I think maybe the most complete player in the class on both sides of the ball. So it's just really, really good. And it's going to be probably the most exciting thing for me. Like we usually don't talk about high school catching like this, but I think this group is that good to be different. And I think obviously the way that Georgia kids get famous, I would say kind of late in the game. Obviously the main guys get famous early, but like you'll see guys senior year, and like this group senior year is going to be the most famous group in the country. So I think that's going to be cool to see, and really, really exciting to see them all in one field here. Like last week, like we were just talking amongst each other, like it's just different. Like even in BP, we're like, oh, we got trouble, like this is going to be really fun and really tough to rank these guys over the next couple of years. Yeah.
And going through the list, I mean, even looking at the leaderboards as we're putting those together for these, just some of the numbers they're putting up are already the top end in the Southeast with the teams that were in the mix with us, with Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi. And we talked about it before the event, but just competing on that stage against those guys, gameplay, a lot of the guys did more of the same in gameplay, which is always really important. So it's getting ready to build that next class. And while we're talking about that, rankings updates, we will have 2027s coming out here in the next week or so. And then after that, 28s and 29s will follow the following 2 weeks. So 28s will be on August 26th, and then 29s will be on September 2nd. And then outside of that, we'll jump into the fall schedule a little bit, just to kind of touch on it's fully going to come out here in the next week or so. But we're hitting the campus tour series again. But first, we're going Georgia Senior Games, Labor Day weekend, September 5th. At Lake Point. It's turned into an awesome event for us. I think looking back at the numbers, we had 150-ish guys last year, and like over 90 of those guys were committed. Not necessarily from that event, but we did have 15, 20 schools in the mix there last year. So going to be really fun to have that event there. Already nearly sold out. We've already put some caps on positions. Looking to have about 12 or so teams for that. Plenty of innings, 7 or 8 inning games, low number teams with 12 or so players, plenty of ABs, plenty of innings to go around. So that'll be Labor Day weekend, September 5th. So make sure you get in there for that. If you haven't already, those 27s, it's really turned into our most highly recruited event Georgia-wise across the whole year, just because of the timing of it. College coaches can get out and come down and see you guys. And then Fall Campus Tour Series, we'll jump in. We're going to Mercer this year. We'll be down at Georgia Southern again. We'll be back at UGA, and then North Georgia and Kennesaw State. So those dates will be posted on the website here soon. So always excited to have that. We'll have some scout days in the mix. We'll get cranked up for the fall. We'll try to keep some of these episodes coming at you. Obviously, we don't have a ton to talk about just weekly, just with what we got going on, but we wanted to touch on Super Sophomore games. We'll probably grab another episode maybe later this week, touch on some more future games and junior future game stuff, dedicate a full episode to that. Lot to recap there with the amount of guys that we have at the event. But really just wanted to recap some Super Sophomore games. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. We'll keep some stuff rolling out. Got a lot of good stuff coming out this spring, this fall too. So excited to see you guys this fall. Tournament schedule's coming together. It'll kick off that same Labor Day weekend. We'll have the Cup. We'll head down to All-American game for a few days, and then be back up here to get ready to go for the full fall season with Upper Class World Series, Underclass World Series. So appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one. Enzo was on her way back.
I mean,